gets berated on the podcast we've created to commemorate action flicks, big horror, no tricks. John Travolta, Chuck Norris, insane clown posse, no fuss, no mercy, we discuss. Everything gets berated, no one is underrated. From the screen to the stage, except a new cage. No mercy, we engage.
Welcome to Everything Gets Berated, where we talk about everything other than indie horror and sometimes indie horror. I'm Amferny.
Pretty much everything.
Pretty much
and
everything.
I am Brian with a B. It is windy today.
Yes,
dude.
it is.
What in the world? Right? Like, how random is that? Like, when we were younger, could you ever imagine being like, oh, I can't wait till I'm older and talk about how the weather sucks? Like, what? What are you talking about, dude?
I mean, when you're young, you don't realize that the weather affects you so much.
Dude. Yeah, like I'm looking and it's like, oh, it's blowing my lawn chairs over. What? Never in my life I would have ever thought that I'd be talking about.
Well, yeah, because when you're a kid, you don't have to go pick that up.
I'm pretty sure we did, but we probably didn't care. Like my kid, like he, we got that big old side yard, and like he kicks the ball against the house, and I was like, oh, I'm like, don't kick it against the house. I'm trying to explain to him, like, dude, it's stucco, bro.
Yeah.
Then like we have put a basketball room out front, and he like chest passes from the house to him. I was like, bro, don't throw your basketball at the house either.
Oh my
He's like,
God.
what the hell? What can I throw at the house then? I'm like, you can
Nothing?
throw fucking couple $100,000 into your own house.
Yeah. And when you do that, you can do whatever you want to your own house.
And I swear to God, when you get that house, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to come over. I'm going to start fucking shit up.
Come in, kick your shoes off everywhere.
Spit toothpaste on the mirror. Not do dishes. Put my shoes wherever I want in your house.
The dream of every parent.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect revenge.
Yeah. Yep. Not. Anyways, today was my pick, right?
Today was your pick.
I don't even know if it was my pick. I suggested it, right? I think that we should start. I don't know if we should start telling people that, like, you know what? It was funny, and we were talking about it, and they were just like, you know what? Let's do it. So people aren't like, Brian liked that movie. He chose to do that movie,
There's a couple that I have in mind that I picked specifically because I disliked them so much.
Yeah, you see, because we've been doing a couple things where it's like, hey, we should do one good one and one bad one. Like I'm trying to go through the movies, but then I'm kind of worried to go back and watch them because they were cool when we were little, potentially. Yeah. Like, did you see that March 22nd was the 40-year anniversary of freaking The Last Dragon?
I did not see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is everywhere. And I was like, damn. It was such a legit movie that everybody's like, it's the 40-year anniversary.
There are movies that just have followings.
Dude, I'm going to start following when Bloodsport's anniversary is. I'm going to throw a party.
I'm sure that has a cult following too.
It should. It should. But tonight, whatever you want to do it, we're talking about the movie Tremors.
The original.
The original? What?
Yeah. Because there was 6 sequels.
What?
6.
What the fuck? Okay, so basically this Tremors, there's these sand turd looking things that smell like shit. They adapt and get smarter every time one of them dies. And then they try to take over a town of 14 people and they fell. And the townspeople have 2 leaders. And they're just these 2 handymen that have no game on picking up women. But they think they're a lot cooler than they actually are. And then there are also no black people in the movie.
Oh yeah, none. And this is a small desert town, likely in the middle of Arizona or California, with nothing but white people and farmers' tans.
All 11 of them.
Yeah, but this is all 11 people that live in, like, what is it? Is it Pleasant Valley or something like that?
I think
It's
it
got
was
like
City
this,
of Perfection, population 14.
yeah, perfection. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is directed by Ron Underwood, and it stars what am I doing here? Kevin Bacon as Val, Fred Ward as Earl,
What the shit?
Michael Gross as Burt Gummer, who I believe
Was
he
that
was
the
a
dude
TV
with the
dad.
gun? What?
Yeah, that's Reba's husband.
I don't know. Never watched that show.
No, Reba's husband in the movie.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I thought we were talking
And
about
he
Reba
was
the country
also,
lady.
he's like he's a TV dad too. I think he was on Growing Pains or something like that. But yeah, Reba McEntire as Heather Gummer, and uh, who else is actually of name here?
I swear that kid. What was that kid's name? Like Butch or something dumb. No, I have it in my notes somewhere. It was a really weird name, especially like this is gonna sound really racist, but especially for like a white kid to have. Melvin.
Melvin.
Melvin. What's that
That's
kid's name?
Bobby Jacoby played Melvin Plug.
Like I swear he was in like Nickelodeon TV shows.
Probably,
He's like the
but
redhead freckle kid, not Pete and Pete, but he was like, yeah.
Pete and Pete.
Pete and Pete. Damn, man. We should do a parade on that TV show.
We could. I had an idea to do a berated for 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s training videos.
Man, can you hear my AC just kicked on?
No, I can't hear it.
That's official.
But
Might make me need to put a sweater on. Mm-hmm.
So this,
All right.
the kind of the gist with this movie is they call them Grabboids. They name them.
Loser names.
Are causing these seismic tremors under the earth, and they're sucking things down into the ground.
Everything.
Like everything, like cars and houses,
People.
Yeah, like
Dog
nobody's
shit.
safe. Nobody's safe anywhere.
But out of nowhere, they just showed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right?
Out of nowhere, they just showed up, you know. So the movie opens up with a Brokeback Mountain style Kevin Bacon picking his butt. And
Doesn't he wake up? He wakes up Earl, right?
yeah,
Fred
but
Ward.
life's apparently been hard for him ever since he quit coaching the Mighty Ducks.
I think that's Emilio Estevez.
You ever heard that joke when you say stuff like that? And they're just like, yeah, Kevin Bacon's like, yeah, he did the flying V. They're like, yeah, that was him. And then you're like, you obviously don't know who Kevin Bacon is because that clearly was Emilio Estevez teaching
Yeah.
kids how to play hockey.
He also
You know?
had a luscious mullet of hair. But,
Didn't he always? Even in fucking X-Men a couple years ago,
oh, that's right. Yeah,
he still
That's fair.
had that luscious hair, dude.
he did.
He's never had a dandruff flake in his life.
He doesn't look like he's aged a day in like 30 years.
Dude, he doesn't, man. So, yeah, he wakes his buddy up and, you know, they're doing, what do you call it? They're doing, like odd man jobs, you know?
Yeah,
so
they're like odd job guys, but Kevin Bacon prefers to call them handymen because it's more dignified.
yeah. And so it's literally Joe Dirt's dad and Kevin Bacon.
I was about to say that's Joe Dirt's dad.
Yeah, they're literally just living on the mountain making fences.
Whenever you
And
lose
then-
hope, think of an angel.
Just look at this clown.
Look at this clown.
And Kevin Bacon, they're like hammering in these fence posts, and he's like the shittiest person in the world that with a hammer that I've ever seen.
Don't they start
Like-
bending down the nail?
I think so.
Like they're not paying attention.
Really, he sucks. And then there's a scene where like they're standing like I'm not really afraid of heights, you know, but there's a scene where they're literally like on the edge of the cliff and they're standing there. I'd be like, I wouldn't trust, you know, like my friends because I know we'd be dead like fucking jackass. They'd be like, and flinch at you, and then somebody would fall off a cliff and we'd go to prison for the rest of our life. You know? Yeah. So they get done building over their fences or whatever, and they start driving, and then they see that truck. There's like, oh yeah, there's a girl, and they're like, I heard that it's a guy, and there's like, please, like let it be a girl, let it be a hot chick
with luscious rack,
right? It's just some nerd, and they do that nerd uncle joke, like, I've heard you like guys, or I've heard about you guys, and then they deny everything. Like they go up to introduce themselves to that girl, and those uncle jokes or like those dad jokes. They're just like, "Hey, I'm Brian. Hey, don't believe everything you hear about us. We're down to earth guys." No, she didn't hear anything about you guys except that you guys were losers, and you just confirmed that you guys were a bunch of nerds. Yeah, and so because of that, like Joe Dirt's dad, I don't know how he did it, or maybe it's the opposite way. So Joe Dirt's dad, he clearly is acting like Napoleon Dynamite's uncle.
Oh yeah,
like everything he does, he's like so awkward, just looking around. So maybe Napoleon Dynamite's uncle was like, you know what? I'm gonna act like Joe Dirt's dad from Tremors, and I'm gonna make this movie.
I'm gonna be Earl. Yeah, but so then they also have this plan. They're gonna get out of I forget the name of the place again, but they're gonna get out of this small town
or something,
out of Perfection. And they're going to go one town over, and that's going to be their big move.
Right. Like town over.
I do love these like small town movies where it's small town, big problem. And it's so low stakes that it's high stakes, but it makes it fun.
Like if we can save up the $10 we need for gas to go over the hill, we get to a new town and start a new life. You're like, if that's all you need to start a new life, brother, I'll give you that. I'll give you $20.
Man, you could have done that yesterday.
Dude. Because then, like, we'll talk about it later, I guess, because there's a scene where they're like, just get on the horses. Like, it'll take a 3-day ride. And you're like, you guys have cars. Like, what are you talking about? It takes 3 days to get to the next town. Like, goddamn, you can get from fucking California to Rhode Island and back to California in 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
Like, sweet and googly moogly, So then these fucking assholes, they go to town, and there's some like teenager kid throwing a ball against the wall, and they're like, "What's up, pizza face?" And you're just like, "Okay, you guys are adult men," and that's a teenage boy who's like 5'5", but yet he has on size 22 shoes.
So he's like a Saved by the Bell teenager.
Yeah. But you're like, those shoes aren't yours. The parents are like, he'll grow into them, Steve. Like, and then
we can afford one pair of shoes every 5 years.
Maybe. Like, you got to make sure these things last.
Yeah.
Right? Live in perfection. It's a 4.5-day trip to go to the grocery store.
If you want to go to Foot Locker, that's like 7 days.
Right? So then it goes into, and I don't remember the Asian guy's name, but he's the Asian guy from fucking Showdown
Mr. Chang.
Big Trouble in Little China. Mr. Chang has a black name though, too.
Walter Chang.
Yeah, Walter Chang. Come on, man.
Played by Victor Wong.
How many Big Trouble in Little China dudes do you know named Walter? Come on, man. When we lived in Shanghai, we all the people at our hotels, you live in the hotel, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get to choose their own name. Yeah, but like they can choose their own American name, And so I was like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "My name is James." And you're like, "What's your real name?" He's like, "Oh, this is what it is." You're like, "That's such a cooler name than James."
Yeah.
Yeah. So the girl that they were talking about, she was there to measure like the tremors in the ground or something.
Yeah, she's like a student there for her like work experience.
Yeah. And so she's out there by herself. Like, God, could you imagine how shitty that was? Like, I had to help out some stores in like, I can't remember if it was like Death Valley or Desert Springs or somewhere like that, where it's like a really tall, small town, you know? And the girl, so she's just out in the middle of a desert by herself, like trying to see if she can find out what's going on with these tremors. And then a big ass one happens underneath her and it almost gets her, but she had no idea.
Yeah, so she's basically not running away, but she gets away from the Grabboid.
Yeah. And it's also pretty funny is because she was taking notes, and my son still has those same notebooks. Those like black notebooks with like the white speckled dots on them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this movie was made in like probably the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. Right around the time of Trapper Keepers. And
they're just like, you know what? Let's keep it going, you know? Then what else? So then it starts going into showing that, you know, Kevin and Joe Dirt's dad are the real handyman. They're doing everything they can.
Like this lady asked them to like they're on their way out of town, making their great escape, and the lady asked them to build her kiln.
So they're doing like a septic tank, and then something's gonna happen whenever there's anybody working on a septic tank in a movie. The next scene's gonna be them covered in shit.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, so it just sprays all over them again. And you're like, okay, we need to do some research and see, what do you call it? We need to do some research to see what was the first movie that ever did a septic tank joke in their movie and be like, okay, this is it.
I mean, there was a Boeing bomb joke in Joe Dirt.
Yeah. But Clark Griswold and stuff that. He had
he's dumping his septic waste into the sewer.
Yeah, there's a bunch of septic jokes, dude. And then I was always wondering why. Like at the beginning of the movie, I thought it was just a joke. At the beginning of the movie, they had like brooms and shit in the back of the truck. And I'm like, why do you have brooms in the back of your truck if you're in the middle of the desert? No matter how much sweeping you do, you're not going to be able to sweep the desert.
There's dirt everywhere. It's the desert.
And then they just start sweeping. I was like, well, never mind then. I guess that's why if you're a handyman, you need to have everything available for you,
Oh, yeah. And I think early on, they also set up like that little bit with the girl who's counting the amount of pogo jumps she does per day.
Yep. I'm going to have to show her
headphones on.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, I can pogo jump 600 times in one jump. And you're just like, damn.
Wow, that's some dedication without getting off.
Her calf muscles are so buff, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
So then they finally do all the jobs and whatever like that. And then they're on their way out of town and they see their friend who's he must be the town weirdo. Because they're like, oh, hey, there's Carl upstairs or up in the fucking electrical box, or the whatever the hell it is, the phone lines.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, Carl, hey, Carl. And you're just like, okay, I'm pretty sure that if I saw you, I was like, Anferny, hey, Anferny, what's up? And you didn't pay attention. I'd be like, oh, he's dead.
Well, yeah, because the thing that happened there is like there's no like signs of like somebody like murdered him or did anything. He's stuck up there, like presumably because he he's afraid of something and he's running away from something.
Yeah, so they climb up there and he doesn't have any Kevin Bacon doesn't have any harnesses at all. And he's like, I'm going to climb up there myself. And you're just like, damn, man, like that's some Perfection Town backwoods shit.
I know, this place is crazy.
Climbing place without things. And he's just chilling up there with his gun. And then they realize that he's dead. And so the coroner comes and he's like, nope, he died of dehydration. And what is it? It's 72 hours?
It's like 3 to 4 days.
I think it's like 72 hours, man. I think it's 3 days.
Closer to 72 if you're older. Or if you're in an arid climate like that.
Ooh, especially if it's desert. Man,
Yeah.
I've seen Naked and Afraid, you know? So then they tell me, like, he's dehydrated. There's like, wait a second. So he climbed up there and died of dehydration? And you're just like, yes, that's what died of dehydration means.
So this is like your first hint that there's something bad on the ground that people are trying to get away from.
Kinda, because I think
Which
that
next,
girl, you know.
we get the dead sheep, right? That's next.
Yeah, I think that they go, the old man gets pulled into the ground while he was farming. And the
And
dude,
his sheep get eaten up.
yeah, see the entire farm was just destroyed. And all of its animals, like the chupacabra was there, just fucking shit up.
The werebeast.
You know? Yeah. See, and then after I found a second body in one day, like that would be, you know what, Anthony? We've outgrown this town, brother.
Yeah, so they do try to leave after that, but that's when the telephone line guys get taken by the Grabboids, and it blocks their way out of town.
Oh,
So at
yeah.
this point, they're stuck. Everybody's stuck. There's one road in, one road out.
Oh, yeah, but there's a couple things like I had to take a note on this one because they did, again, they're the cool uncles that swing and miss with jokes like a bunch of losers. Whoever swings and misses.
Who does that?
Right. So they're like, we need to get out of town. We need to make a step on, or we need to get a step on. And they're just like, consider it stepped on. And you're just like, no, you didn't need to repeat what I just said, bro. Like, just move. You're wasting time, bro. Don't do your one-liner. Just say,
really.
all right, let's go. Like, if you say something, I'll be like, hold on. Let me think of a good line before I hit the road. Consider it stepped on. And then they peel out.
Yeah.
You know? And they find more dead bodies because that's where, what do you call it? That's where you're saying those people, the phone line people, now they're all dead, you know? And then at this point, you know, if I was a sheriff, I'd be like, okay, wait. So you found your friend dead. You just happened to be there. And then you found the farmer dead. You just happened to be there. And you found all the sheep dead. And you happen to be Brokeback Mountain and living in the woods. And now you found these people dead. Like you might be the murderers. You know
that does feel like a missed opportunity for a storyline.
Yeah. You know, and so I don't know when Johnny Cochran became a lawyer, but you had better contact him because this evidence isn't looking too good for you, dude. And then they find, when they drive off, like, you know,
they think they're stuck, but they're really like have a graboid stuck to their axle.
It was an elephant's dick. It grabbed its axle. Elephants can do a bunch of stuff, you know, apparently try to impregnate. Whoa, that's what the monsters look like, you know. Then they get to they get to what was the name of that store? You know, I can't remember the name of that store, but Walter Chang offers him $15 for an elephant dick.
Oh, yeah, because he wants to keep it.
Yeah. And he's like, I'll give you $15 for it. And then you're just like, I'm glad that wasn't a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Because that'd be fucked up. He's like, come back tomorrow. I'll have a really special orange chicken for you. You just bought this elephant dick that was attached to my truck. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. So this is their first like real confirmation that these things are out there. They just don't know how they work and how they move yet.
Yeah. So then this is a funny part. It was really fucking smart though too. We go and there's like that old couple that's building their house.
Oh yeah.
You know, or something. And the husband gets drug under the ground, drug, whatever.
Yeah.
And the wife hurries up and grabs a long 2x4 and throws it, but she puts it like level with the ground. Because if it spreads out more, it's not going to get sucked into the ground as easily. And that was a good life-saving tip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're on ice and the frozen ice, like the frozen pond is breaking, you're supposed to lay out like a starfish,
Oh
because
yeah.
your body just, same with wrestling. Wrestling, when you hit the ground, judo, when you hit the ground like that, you disperse that energy through your body and it doesn't hurt as bad. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
just the pinpoints, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing's more embarrassing than having your 15-pound baby standing on your thighs. You're like, oh, God damn it, that hurts. It's like, this 15-pound baby. You're like, but he has pinpoint feet,
It's 15 pounds concentrated in one area.
Yeah. And so that was a brilliant idea. I really like that part of that movie, dude. I'll give that one, but it ends up biting her in the ass because it breaks it in half with such force that it fucking hits her in the head and knocks her out.
Oh yeah.
they're just like, God damn, And so the guy's gone, and then their station wagon and her. If she would have had the station, or not the station wagon, if she would have had the Blazer from Lone Wolf McCloud, she would have been able to fucking escape that any day of the week.
Oh yeah. But so then at this point we're at they decide is this where they decide they need to like start taking out these things?
I don't know. Like, people just start go back into town, and people are like taking pictures with that elephant ass looking dick thing. And so then, like, I've been keeping track now. Okay. So now there should only be 11 people left in that town.
Well, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the woman starts naming off, and it introduces that one family that saves the day. Mm-hmm. That one family that saves the day. She starts naming off all of her guns. And I was like, nothing's more emasculating.
The Gummers, Reba and her husband.
Yeah, they start naming all, like, I can name, there's a rifle and there's a shotgun and there's
they have an elephant gun. They actually call it an elephant gun.
I made a joke about that one. I was like, dude, that's the coolest gun. Ever since Jumanji 1 with Robin Williams, those elephant guns, I was like, could you imagine blasting one of those things?
That's a wide stance gun,
like,
right there.
I can name a bunch of guns from Call of Duty, maybe, like the 1911. That's a good gun, but damn well that shit's not real, But this lady just starts like naming off all these guns, and you're just like, what the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, like, poor Melvin. Not only do you have a fucked up name as a young Caucasian male with gigantic feet and red hair, but there's no girls in that town for him to smash on.
None.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what shitty parents are you? They're like, you know what? I want to raise my son. In a town so I know he's safe and he's not going to catch any kind of STDs. And you're just like, what?
Also, never have fun ever.
Mm-hmm. Throw a basketball. Hey, son, how'd you do a basketball today? Oh, I threw it to myself 57 times, Dad.
Yeah.
So then they realize that they do need to start getting the fuck out of town looking for help. And so they need to ride their horses to the next town, and they say it's 36 miles.
Yeah.
But then they say they plan on staying the night. Like, a horse can't ride 36 miles in one day?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah, the fuck they can. 36 miles. Come on, man. 36 miles? There's people I know that walk fucking from here to Prim in like one. They run here to Prim. That's a 45 miles.
Wow.
You were a fucking runner.
Yeah, but I didn't run 45 miles in a day.
Come on, man. How many marathons did you run? You're telling me that as soon as you got done running a marathon, you're like, oh, I'm not going to run anymore. You couldn't fucking do so. What's your fastest marathon time?
Like 4 hours.
What the fuck? Are you kidding?
No, that's serious.
So you're telling me that the other 20 hours you couldn't walk another 10 miles?
Man, my legs were dead.
Dude, I'm saying, But think about that. You ran, what, 26.1 miles in 4 hours. So if you put your mind to it, you couldn't walk 30 miles. Come on, man.
I mean, I could if you put me up to it, but I'm just saying, like,
You know, it's funny. I was thinking
it's a
about that
hard
yesterday.
ask.
I was thinking about that yesterday, like when I was waiting at the dentist office. I was like, if by some chance my tires, like I come up with these random scenarios, like my tires are gone from my car. I was like, okay, so my wife's work is like 30 miles away. I was like, so if I have to walk, I was like, let's just pretend I walk 3 miles an hour. I was like, that'd take me 10 hours to get from my wife's work all the way to my house. I was
Yeah.
like, I couldn't pick my son up from school. I had to call somebody like, hey, can you pick him up? I'm walking from North Vegas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so even at that, you're telling me that a horse can't walk 4 miles an hour?
Yeah, but I think you would have to have, with the way these things go, and if you make any noise, because that's what they start to figure out is like they're subterranean. So it's not about what they see; it's about the seismic things that they hear. So any noise you make, they're tracking. So a horse is going to make a lot of noise on the ground.
Yep, and
that's the problem.
They see that gigantic tremor, and then they're just fucked, man.
And then like at some point, are we there yet? Where they get like where they're basically at like the like Chang's, and then you see the relay tower building is across the way, and the Grabboids are starting to take out the buildings.
What the fuck is going on with my dog? Every time she thinks somebody's at the door. Anyway, sorry. No, I don't know. But I know that there's this scene. I don't remember if it's before or after this, but there's that scene where they jump off the horse and that big ass Tremor's chasing them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so he jumps into the ditch, the something, and the Tremor like blindly rushes as fast as it can and hits that wall of concrete.
Oh, that's right. And that's when they find their first full one and they see how long they are.
It's like 15 to 20 yards long, right? Like that was and they dig it up and it's like, yep, does smell like shit.
Yeah. And then they realize there's 2 more that are still out there.
I don't know, but everybody in town screams really, really easy. Like, why? Have you ever screamed? Don't be shy.
I don't recall screaming.
Right? Why do people scream?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody starts like, ugh. Did that help? Like, what? Even on like fucking roller coasters. Like, I've fallen out of a roller coaster before and I didn't fucking scream. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe like after I get done getting down, I was like, yeah! And I fucking scored a goal.
Yeah.
Then I'll scream. But yeah, everybody in that town screams way too easy. Like, they started messing with people, like putting that fake ass elephant thing on people, and they're like, ah, and they scream.
Really gross.
I'd be really pissed. Like, there's a couple things in my life where, like, just let me die, man.
Yeah, seriously.
You ever been to like Lake Mead?
Can't say that I have.
Or have you ever been to like a boating dock and they have like those big ass carp sucker fish where there's like hundreds of them and there's like, and they make that disgusting ass sound. They look all gross.
Oh yeah.
Our friend has a houseboat and we made a pact like, we'll fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's like, hey, it is not funny to push somebody into those disgusting ass fish. Like if I ever like lost my footing and fell into that, I'd be like, just let me be, man. Just let me die.
It's
like,
been a good life.
You can swim though. No, because I'd come out alive and he'd be like, hey, Brian, remember that time all those sucker fish? Like I'd come out with like hickeys all over my body. And I'd be like, I don't want to live in this world knowing that fucking all these carp and sucker fish took advantage of me. Yeah. It's gross, dude. Like, could you imagine if all of a sudden like you fell into like a giant ass septic tank? Like, come here, bro. Give me 5. You're like, nah, dude. Like, I don't know how many times you've washed your hands, but I saw what happened last weekend. You know?
Yeah.
So then,
But I think now we're at the point where the Grabboids start targeting the buildings they're at, which are all around Chang's place. And they're
so they
starting
figure
to
out that the Tremors can't climb, but then they try to determine like what they are. They said something about the Russians again. Like, I feel like everything back then was blamed on the Russians.
Oh yeah, it was like the Red Scare.
Why? What the fuck? How old were we? We were 10 years old?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, this was right around the time of like Red Dawn and stuff like that.
Yeah, but what the fuck did they do?
The good one.
I mean, both of them were all right, man. I
Chris
like the new
Hemsworth.
one.
No,
Come on, man. You really?
No.
You know what
No,
we're
thank
doing?
you.
We're doing that fucking movie.
We are.
You hear it first, everybody. News break. We need to get that song. Dun, 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 dun.
I hate
News
you, Brian.
break. We're gonna be doing the new Red Dawn.
Do you want to do a Red Dawn showdown?
God, that would be hilarious. But everything, Stranger Things, fucking this, everything was like, nowadays everything is blamed on Bigfoot.
Yes.
Like, babe, I know that I got drunk last night and I fucking wrecked into the house, but it wasn't me. It was Bigfoot.
It was Bigfoot.
Okay, I believe you. Yeah. No, babe. It wasn't my card that subscribed to all those OFs. It was Bigfoot. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? So they realize that they're not going to be able to do anything. And that's when Uncle Rico, Napoleon Joder's dad, he goes, that means we're stuck. And that pisses me off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because they were trying to get away.
Oh, they're going to argue about who's going to go on the moped because they have to lure one or the Grabboid away.
Well, remember they finally realized that like the rock, if you're on the rock,
it can't get you.
Yeah. And so like, okay, well, if we're on the rock, then it doesn't send the vibrations and they can't get us. She's like, that means we're stuck. And it really chaps my ass.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what? What? Come on, bro. And then all of them are like, you know what I got to do? I got to take a piss. And so all three of them just go piss at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like Tinkle Buddies. Like, what? But then, thankfully, there were those long-ass poles that they found against the rocks that just happened to be there.
I was watching this part I was watching around this part with Betty, and she pointed out, because there's the first long pole they have that they use to, like, plank across to each rock, and, like, the plank they have and the plank they use are not the same length. Because I think they just had a plank and they were like, we're going to use it for the shot. But then they tried to use it when you actually go across the rocks. But it's the wrong length.
Did you ever, as a kid, like, if you turn crutches upside down, then you can stand on the hand part of it and then you use them as stilts?
Oh, yeah.
You used to do that?
I know people that did. I never did it.
Dude, fucking, we used to do that all the time. I don't know why. We always had crutches at my house, dude, but none of us kids ever fucking needed them.
Well, it's probably because you're using crutches as stilts.
But what? So we just go to fucking Albertsons and buy stilts or crutches?
No, I'm saying somebody got hurt. And then somebody decided it was a good idea to use crutches as stilts. Dude. And now you're using them forever.
Yeah, no, we always had fucking crutches, dude. But now, I think a couple years ago, my brother, he had that surgery on his knee. And I was like, remember we were kids, we used to do this? So I tried it and I was like, nope, can't do it. I can't walk on stilts anymore. But you know what I can do? Well, I used to be able to do a couple years ago. You know those bionic legs that like, you put your foot into it and it like gives you like 3 feet and it's like the curve thing. You can like jump like 4, 6, 8 feet in the air.
The bent back paper clips. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a pair of those and I was like, let's do these. I try to play tennis with them, but so they use these random big ass poles in the middle of the desert Do you think that you could pole vault from one side to the other side? As a kid, for
As
sure.
an adult, I don't trust myself.
That's what I'm saying.
I trust myself to get like 3/4 of the way, and then I'm going to have to sprint.
And I feel like there was a comedy that came out a long time ago, and it was based in Africa where they did the same things, and they pole vaulted from rock to rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie? Does that seem... It might have been called like Once Upon a Time in Africa or something, but it was a comedy.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they get to the truck, and there's all these elephant dicks now everywhere just attacking that truck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these elephants were trying to bang that truck, dude.
They take the truck out. So basically, like, they have to find a bigger vehicle that is harder to pull down.
So then they decide to be real smart about it. Like, and then here's where that joke comes from, where if you're swimming and you make it halfway and you get tired and you turn around and come back, and you're like, if you made it halfway, why don't you just go the rest of the way?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they made it halfway, and they're just like, you know what? Let's turn around and get back into town. It's like, bro, you made it halfway.
Mm-hmm.
Go. And then
Exactly.
at this point in the movie, I realized that every time Kevin Bacon screams, he sounds like motherfucking Johnny Lawrence. Hey,
Yeah, a little bit.
quiet. You know? Yeah.
Well, this is like, I mean, I feel like maybe Kevin Bacon's voice has deepened over time, but he had to have been in his 20s here.
Yeah, and then finally, that shithead teen, he almost gets eaten.
Oh, yes.
But, like, now it's a gigantic-ass tremor, and, like, the entire store, like, shakes because it's, like, eating him. They're trying to hit the store.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, and there's that scene where the lady tries to run away from it, and she trips into the barbed wire, but then she rolls into it, so it wraps herself up in the barbed wire. It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Remember her ankles were all tied up by it, and you're just like, stop, Anthony. I love you, bro. But if I see you run and you hit the barbed wire, and you're just like, ooh, what's going on? And I'd be like, he chose it. I'd hold people back. I was like, what did you say? I'd be like, no, he did it himself.
No, he made his choice.
He wanted to do this. He wanted to go out this way. But he wanted to go out in a ball of barbed wire.
Yeah.
And then, God damn it. So then the only way to save her was to like take her pants off. And then I remember she's rocking like those granny panties that were all dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how are your panties dirty?
And this is around the time we start to get that feeling that like Kevin Bacon is like catching feelings.
Yeah. But then it was also really weird because like Joe Dirt's dad gives her that creepy look and he's like, hey, mama, what's up? Like, hey, you take your pants off for me? She's like, no, I just fell into barbed wire and rolled around in it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm lucky to be alive.
And then Walter dies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then that's when I realized that there's no black people in the movie at all. It took me this long to be like, wait a second. Wait, we have one damn minute.
One Asian guy.
I love that guy too, dude.
I do like Mr. Chang.
We'll see if my brother hears this, but my niece, you met my niece, the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And they were at a restaurant and she was making a funny face and she makes that same face as that guy does in Showdown in Little Tokyo or Big Trouble in Little China. And so I compared her to that one. And my brother's like, guess what? I'm never sending you pictures of your nieces again. And I was like, oh, come on, man. No. Yeah. So there's that gigantic ass tremor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you think if Walter would have survived, you know, that his insurance would have covered it. He was like, no, trust me. There's like, oh, really? A sand turd ate your store? Come on.
You'd have to prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, but
And
this
so,
does fall under act of God.
and then they were realizing that they can't be on the floor, and so everybody's like jumping around up top, and that woman falls off the shelves through a big old fucking glass window
Oh
and
yeah,
perfectly lands into a fetal position. Like, what? What are you doing?
I know.
Like, that was just such, like, how did you fall so perfectly? You know? And then there's a scene where they go to that couple that has all the
Oh yeah, because they have the relay tower control station or
yeah.
whatever, and they have this barrage of guns.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that they would have been safe. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because it's like stone. It's like a concrete slab.
Yeah, it's brick and concrete, and the other one did it. And so that she grabs like that bitch ass little blue bucket of ammo.
Oh yeah.
But then they have that beautiful wall of like guns, and
don't they like they start using various weapons, but then the one that really does the damage because they take out the second graboid is the RPG.
Well, I remember they were in their basement, and I was like, dude, they're going to be safe because it's brick wall and everything. And then they panned to like their gun wall, and like I stood up right there and I started singing "I'm Proud to Be an American," and like a tear rolled down my face, and I was like, that's such a beautiful scene, and like I started crying, like right there. You know, and then
that was a beautiful wall of weapons.
It was so beautiful.
I've never felt more safe in my entire life.
Some people buy homeowners insurance. Some people buy fucking guns.
Yeah.
You know, like guns are expensive as fuck, man. How do people own so many guns?
I mean, I guess if you live in perfection, rent is extremely low and you have lots of expendable income.
Okay, but then you still got to drive fucking 7 days to the nearest fucking, but they grabbed, excuse me, they grabbed the ammo and they just go fucking ham and they start killing that, and the couple just goes upstairs, starts shooting that thing, and they kill with the guns. And then there's like, they didn't kill the fucking thing with a sign. They killed it with guns, bitches. Fucking, this is why we need guns.
Exactly.
Because in case sand turds that smell like elephant dick try to take over the world, we need guns, not fucking peaceful protests. We need guns and kill these dune sand elephant dick turds, whatever the hell they are. And then this is just like I thought. He has the Jumanji elephant gun up on the roof, hunting them down. Yeah. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. It really was an elephant gun.
It's an elephant gun.
Like,
yeah.
Ever since the first Jumanji, like the cartoons where like it's a barrel and then it opens up at the end. That's the fucking funniest gun I've ever seen in my life. Could you imagine if you went to rob somebody and you got blasted with an elephant gun? Like, I would tell everybody. I'd be like, oh, he got shot. And they'd be like, damn, by a 9mm or a shotgun? Like, no, an elephant gun. They'd be like,
there wouldn't be much body left.
What the fuck? What caliber do you think that is?
Like a 50 cal?
Maybe even bigger, But just how hilarious would that be? If you like go rob like a 7-Eleven, you're just like, give me all of it. And it's like, what are you going to do? And you pull out a big old elephant gun? Like, what? That and like the Patriot, the movie Patriot with Mel Gibson. Like those guns where you have to like count the beads that go into it. That gun. Like all those guns from like Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh yeah,
a harpoon gun. Like, you're trying to be a gangster, but you got a fucking harpoon gun and an elephant gun.
Hey man, those do damage.
It would be messed up.
Don't knock it.
They harpooned you through both of your legs. That'd be messed up. But because of this movie too, I really want to go buy like a CB radio. You know? Yeah. So I think at this point I think they grabbed everybody, right? Because at this point they figured out they should get that big ass tractor or something.
But yeah, they get that huge, like they get the vehicle from the dump, the tractor. Yeah, or is the tractor or the with the long attached or the
yeah, like it looks like a dump truck,
a big dump truck attachment. But yeah,
if they would have done like the flying V, they wouldn't have been in danger.
No,
you know. And then here's something. Do you know why? When they're doing the flying V, that one side is longer than the other side.
Why?
Just because there's more ducks in the other side.
I'm pretty sure like the flying V does not work. It's kind of like in football, if you run the veer, like you're literally just creating a wedge and trying to drive through the defense at a point. It's silly. It doesn't work.
But you know what does work? The crane kick.
That does not work. That is stupid. Oh.
So somebody gets sucked by their butt through the tire.
Yes.
and Melvin isn't so tough anymore, little bitch. He's like, oh, why'd you see somebody get sucked by their butt through a tire? I think your life changes, man. You should move out of that town. You know? Yeah.
I don't think they have a town at the end of this movie.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna have to move.
They're gonna have to migrate them. They're gonna go on a 7-day trail, like Oregon Trail. You know, this is where fucking American Primeval on Netflix Part 2 comes out. Like, this is where Tremors starts. You know,
yeah.
And the Tremors have now become smart, and they're doing like tricky things to murder everybody.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Hey, look over here. Don't worry about that. You know. And then they're talking to like there's one Hispanic dude who lives in that town.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And because he's so afraid, he starts turning into a close talker and gets right up in Joe Dirt Dad's face. He's like, hey, what are we gonna do to get out of here, huh? You fucking brought us out here and you think that we're gonna, you know, because of you, we're all gonna die. We could have stayed at this dude's house and shot them all with those guns. That's 100% what they should have done.
Yeah. They should have.
But did they go back into town, right?
No, they're like, I believe at this point they're stuck out in the middle of nowhere on top of or in the middle of this like dump truck attachment. And at this point they have dynamite, right?
No, I swear they went back into town.
Do they?
Because then it shows I swear that it shows like the store again, and you're like, that store isn't going to pass inspection.
No.
But it probably didn't pass inspection when he bought it in the first place, though.
I mean, the building inspector probably doesn't have time to come out to this place.
Yeah, and so then that's where they find the tractor, and they say, hey, we're going to drag something, so that way it attacks that back part. But then the Tremors, like, I'm pretty sure they already took down those buildings and cars, though. But now all of a sudden they're back.
Like, all of the main areas are basically destroyed at this point.
Yeah. So then, did they send that little tractor over there, and they did the whole sacrifice yourself, and Kevin Bacon pushes Joe Dirt's dad, and he's like, okay, you can jump down. He's like, just kidding. Elbow to the stomach. And he takes off running.
Yeah, he takes off running to lure away the Grabboid.
Yeah, and so then I'm pretty sure, okay, we need to rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure that when they ran over the Tremor, it yelped like a dog. It was like, oh, and then it like took off. You're just like, wait a second, Tremors don't yelp like that.
Yeah.
No.
Then again, we've never met people don't have pet Grabboids.
We should. You don't got to feed them anything. And then everybody's now safe in a tractor being pulled to the mountain, but it's like 9 miles away.
Yeah.
And so then finally that one guy, the kid, Melvin has been trying to get a gun all movie long, and the guy's like, "Here's a gun, finally." And so he gives him a gun, and when shit started hitting the fan, Melvin started taking that gun and shooting it, but it was like a blank gun. He was like, "That's fucked up." And then the guy's like, "You think I'd give you a real gun?"
Yeah, I wouldn't give Melvin a real gun.
At the same time, dude, it's the end of the world for you.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what
going to
I'm
be the
saying?
end of your world a whole lot quicker if you give Melvin a real gun.
Give him one bullet at least.
I want
Let
a
him try
fighting
to-
chance.
Let him try to save the day. You know, and then everybody gets stuck on a rock and a bunch of bitches. Everybody wants to start giving up on life. And you're like, don't give up on life. Like, no matter what. Like, how long, Kay? How long would you be held captive and being beat up and tortured before you finally, you know, say, you know what, world, deuces? You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
I'd fight for a couple days.
I don't think I'd ever do it, man. I think I'd be like, you know what? Let's just keep doing it. I was watching a movie with my son, or a TV show, and it was like the end of the world apocalypse movies or shows and shit like that. And he's like, no. He's like, I wouldn't want to be there. I was like, dude, living is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But these people are like, oh, we're just going to jump into it. And so then now all of a sudden they have all this dynamite. And so they throw the dynamite and the fucking monster eats it. But then it's like Kobe, and it spits the fucking dynamite back at them
Yeah,
and perfectly lands into their stockpile of dynamite.
and blows up
not-
all their dynamite.
Everybody needs to run away and before they get blown up. Yeah.
And it severely cuts down the amount of dynamite they have to mess with this thing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it took out all their dynamite. But like I said, it was just so funny because it was like the Billy Madison where he gets the ball into the clown's mouth. It's like, and the clown laughs.
Yeah,
That's exactly what the fuck this Tremor did. They threw a gigantic piece of dynamite. The Tremor grabbed it with his mouth, and it's like, oh, you got me? Just kidding. And it Hawk 2's it into the fucking dynamite stockpile. And you're just like, damn, he just Kobe'd it.
yeah.
And they won, you know? So then finally, what the fuck? Kevin Bacon is like, you know what? I think I can trick this one. And so he starts running as fast as he can, and he tricks it. So that way it jumps off of a cliff and it looks like a turd falling into a toilet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
It's like, oh, and
that
then
was a pretty cool scene.
it looked like, you know, a cartoon like Wile E. Coyote. It's like, not my turd. There's pieces of corn on it. It just goes down the thing. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So now the smartest turd is dead. And finally, Kevin and Joe Dirt's dad get to go off and live happily ever after and fucking become lovers like they're always meant to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well-
like, I enjoy this one. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Like, it knew exactly what it was, but
I don't
like-
remember if I thought this movie was scary as a kid or not. I remember Dune. Dune was scary.
I was not scared once.
Even as a kid.
Yeah. I don't recall being scared as a kid when I watched this.
No. But then, like, kind of at the end of the movie, like Kevin Bacon, like the girl's going up to Kevin Bacon and being like, hey, you know, like really close to him. Like, if you want to kiss me right now, I'll kiss you back.
Yeah.
You know, and everything like that. And then finally, he's like, okay, well, good game. I'll see you tomorrow. Where the fuck are you guys going to go? And so then Kevin Bacon goes back to Joe Dirt's dad, and Joe Dirt's dad's like, you stupid moron, go over there. Then they finally go over there, and finally he gets a kiss from the
From the
whatever the fuck.
seismology girl.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, seismology.
I thought that'd be
Yeah.
the measurement of wieners.
But yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, depending on how this episode is received, we could keep going with Tremors. I don't care if we do or we don't, because after this point, I think
I
it's
had
like
no idea that there was more than one Tremors.
yeah, like after this point, like the one main character is Fred Ward, and then after that it's Burt Gummer
So
for like the
here's
rest of the
something,
series. So
kind of switching subjects. Butchers.
mm-hmm.
There's like 3 of those now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should keep that up.
Oh, all right. Never mind. I was surprised I saw that last night. But anyways, so yeah, I had no idea there was more than one Tremors. I don't know how
Yeah.
it would go. Like Tremors 1 was in Arizona. Tremors 2 is going to be in Wisconsin.
I think it's
Eating
in
up
Mexico.
Eating up all the cocaine Tremors. Jesus.
I mean, that would be interesting.
And then water Tremors, they're like, nope, those are called whales. Like, I don't know. But, yeah, like I said, I remember watching the movie as a kid, and I can't remember if this was scary. I know for sure Dune kind of scared me because they were ugly, but the new Dune is pretty awesome.
I still haven't seen those.
What?
I haven't.
Damn.
I need to.
No. Yeah, you do.
I like Timothy Chalamet.
Is that the lead character?
Yeah, he was Wonka in the new Willy Wonka.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's good.
He puts his hand in a box. He does. It's pretty. They're good movies, dude. That kid fucks up a lot of adult men, and that's
Damn.
embarrassing. Yeah, dude. My number one goal in life is to not get beat up by anybody who's younger than me.
That's
It's
a fair
not
goal.
It's not to be successful or rich or famous. As long as I don't get beat up by anybody younger than me, that's it, man. I'm not
I
talking
like
about like, oh, this guy's a week younger than him. No, this kid was like if I go to a bar right now, I should be able to fuck up a bunch of like 21-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, in Dune, this kid he literally murders these people, like embarrasses them too. Like, if they wouldn't have died by him murdering them, they would have died by embarrassment literally like that night when they went to sleep. They're like, oh, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. Like, this kid fucks them up, man.
Damn.
But, yeah.
But I don't know. I enjoy this one. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the other ones, so I don't know if I would like them or not.
Oh, you haven't seen them?
No.
Good.
Well, we'll keep it fresh.
Yeah, I mean, if we haven't seen them in 40 years, you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing is I have other stuff I found that
Not even on TV. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Not
the thing.
even.
They
That's the
get
thing.
They get like sci-fi TV movie level at a certain point. But there's other stuff I found that I'm far more excited for.
Like RoboCop.
Oh no, I found Dracula's dog.
Oh yeah.
And Torture Garden.
Torture Garden. That's why you
I
don't
found
garden.
a 3-pack of 60s and 70s horror films.
Jesus.
But yeah, all right.
Yeah, man. It was funny, solid pick on my behalf, I guess. So
now we just have to do Rad versus Airborne.
God damn it.
I gotta get you that.
I hope that it's the same cast. He's like, wait a second. This guy's a rollerblader and a fucking BMX rider?
No, it's a different cast. It's starkly different.
Damn it. All right.
Well,
all right.
Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yes.